Joining me now live is Australian barrister and advisor to Assange, Greg Barnes. Greg, what's your reaction to this news?
Well, I mean, it's very welcome news in the sense that a judge has seen the danger of sending Julian Assange to the United States. We've said for many years now that his mental health is deteriorating. I think it again highlights the United States have learnt nothing when it comes to the way in which they incarcerate people in these maximum security prisons. And, you know, we've got a court that's stood up against it. She did, however, the judge, accept all of the US arguments in relation to Assange as to whether or not he was a journalist, as to whether or not he could get a fair trial. So that was concerning. But at the end of the day, it's a fundamentally important victory.
Have you spoken to Julian Assange since the decision was handed down? How is he feeling?
Look, I haven't, and I've not even spoken to his father, who I normally talk to pretty regularly, because it's been a fairly chaotic night, as you can imagine. But this is very important because it now presents an opportunity again for the Australian government to get involved in this case and make the point that now that a British judge has ruled that he can't go to the United States, the appeal process should end. Assange should be released and able to get on with his life.
The US has already said that it plans to appeal this decision. What is the process next?
So the process next is that they will appeal to a single judge of a court, a bit like you would in Australia from a magistrate's court. And then it would go, depending on the result there, it would go to a court of appeal and then to the UK Supreme Court. So if the appeal process kept going, in other words, if the US kept appealing decisions, it could go for another 18 months to 2 years. And that's why it's important that this matter be brought to an end. He should never have been brought to court in the first place, but he has been. We've now got a judge who said no extradition. It's time to end the matter.
There's been calls for Donald Trump to pardon Assange before he leaves office on January 20. Have you heard any more about the likelihood of this?
No, other than there's been a fair bit of some pressure on Trump from his own base support. The Assange case in the US attracts support from the left, people like Bernie Sanders, but also from the right, people like Sarah Palin. And you couldn't rule it out. You certainly couldn't rule it out given the ruling of the British judge, which makes it more difficult now for the United States, that may be an opportunity for Trump to pardon.
The judge said that Assange's mental health is in a precarious state. How is Julian Assange?
Look, his mental and physical health has deteriorated over a number of years because of detention. There's no doubt about that. It's deteriorated further because he's been in Belmarsh prison, which is notoriously a brutal prison in the United Kingdom. And so, you know, at the end of the day, you've got to take that factor into account. It's a very important factor. And when you've got a person with that sort of precarious mental health, you've got to say, look, we're going to end this particular extradition. We're not going to get this person to the United States. Enough's enough. And we hope that the United States does that. But I would reiterate again that, of course, he's an Australian citizen, and Australia does have a say, if it wants to, in this particular matter.
Will lawyers now be asking for Assange's release from the London prison?
They will. There'll be a bail hearing tomorrow, Wednesday, and certainly the expectation would be that he would get bail pending the appeal. That would be what would happen in the normal course of events, and certainly there's no reason why it shouldn't happen here.
Just finally, what would be your message now to Australian authorities?
Well, Maurice Payne and Scott Morrison have got an ideal opportunity to go to the United States and say, we've heard from a judge that this is an Australian citizen who is in danger of death, that is suicide, if he's sent to the United States. Let's end this particular matter and let's move on and let Julian Assange move on with his life.